Dr. Monolades, my name is Chaz, and welcome to the What If Deku Had Everyone's Quirk, Part 0. So, and in this What If, um, he can't remember anyone's name, but they sure, or I was gonna add the picture of Bakugo, Uraka, and hold on. No, not there. It was in. Alright. Come on. Okay. So, everyone, they all remember him. But, so, the Quirk Doctor, or actually, when he was born as a toddler, like all My Hero Academia kids are. And he was born then after her birth, he experienced something that, or Inko and Asashi has experienced something with him, their son. It's randomly hey, he went from being Zuko to become muscular and all mine, and he's shape-shifting into them non-stop. And his memories are started to. So then, at age of 4, a Quirk Doctor said to them that, I see, he's pretty powerful. He has everyone's quirk. And he also noted that he can, he can, or Doctor said Zuko's is having these transformation things. It's not every day as Deku transforms into the Shiraki-sen and then into muscular when he sat down. So the doctor says, well, you're pretty powerful, Zuko. He compliments him. So then he needed to train his quirks. All of them. And in this What If, I'm making Dobby his brother instead of Endeavor's kid. And I'm also making the actual muscular to being have the same thing. And for his sister, he has 3. Her, and the Zumi. Looks like a female version of that girl, that red outfit girl. So then, after they all hit 15, some of them are 16, but the Bakugo, or actually Zuko showed Bakugo his multiple personality things. When he walked up to Bakugo, real Bakugo saw Zuko, but he instead instead of seeing Zuko, he sees a version of himself. Like, gosh dang it, who are you? As Deku says, or fake Bakugo says, I'm Deku. This is one of my powers. Shapeshift thing. As he says, ooh, that's cool. So, okay. So then exam thing. Zuko became sorry, I'm laughing. He became Yucko, or the one that's in. He became that and shot a laser, and then he also transformed into Ida to run up a 0-pointer's leg, and he used like everybody that he didn't even knew how at the time. He gathered up so many villain points and hero points. He got 2.000,000,000,000,000,000 points. And higher than everyone that they even see. That's why he wears a mask thing. And to try to keep his insanity at bay. So then his sister walks up to him and says, good job, little brother. And as they all walk home, or actually Muscular jumped all the way from UA's exam all the way to their house. Or actually Muscular says, who's ever last one there is a rotten egg. As she always finds that a challenge. Oh, really? As they both start jumping. And she starts like jumping around. Zuko says, "But you guys, come on. No. Whom? We're using powers out of that." As he. As. As his sister joins in all the fun. So basically, but actually, he was afraid of using his, but his body, both of his feet, transformed into All Might. His legs, and did a super jump all the way from exam all the way to. He jumped over the entire city and landed right in front. Everybody else, like his sister, his brothers, were only way back there. Like, they're like, really? As, of course, when, during, or before, of course, All Might saw Zuko transformed his lower half into his buffed up form's lower half and bounced away. As he like, Of course, then they were eating, and during the meeting thing that they did, Nezu says, well, no. Yeah. And during the those old school thing, like when he was like got taught with Bakugo thing, Toga was transfer student, and of course Zuko could predict what her quirk would be, as she, or as he, used his own power of creation. Like, he literally transformed himself into, or his, you know those blood things that, like, donor? As he, like, as she went on the roof and he followed, and he, or so she says, go away. As he says, I know. Okay? I got you something for that trouble. As he sets it near her, as she looked over, and she could tell that Zuko is a kind-hearted person. Okay? Sorry about that. So, I'm gonna know how, or so, when Toga saw the blood after, or he said, if you need anything, just let me know. We'll stay in touch. Okay? As after he left, Toga turned around, looked at a blood thing. She opened it, and she starts drinking, and it was real blood, not a fake blood. So it was his own blood. So she became the happiest girl in the world. So then her blood, or his blood, when Toga was drinking, it like erased some of that side effects a lot more. So she doesn't have to drink blood constantly. She drank it, and all of her side effects were so like gone. She was like back to a way she was like normally. So the next day, and so Tonga for second year, Toga walks up to Zuko and meet me on the roof, as it was during lunch. So she and him went onto a roof, and she told him, let's be friends, and plus, so they've known each other for quite a long time, since, because she has Deku's, or actually she asked, how did you know my quirk was evolved around blood? As Zuko says, well, I have this quirk, or this thing that's allowing me to, we're both have a same quirk but different problem. You desire blood to make your quirk activate. Mine, I can't shut mine off. That's why I'm wearing this mask. As it was the one that, this one, to keep my insanity at bay. Ooh. As she says, ooh, we both have a same quirk, but yours is like derives on emotions instead of, or your insanity. That's cool. As she smiles a lot at Zuko. She grins, and he actually said, do you want to see what I turn into? As she says, yep. Yes, please. That's what she's saying. And so Zuko removed his mask, and he transformed into All Might, then his own sister, and then into his brother. Then he also transformed into Toga. huh? Before he puts it back on. As she finds that quite amusing. Like, you don't need blood for yours. Yeah. Or he says, as he said, yeah, but mine, I can mimic other people. But I also, if I don't wear this mask thing on my front of my face, is for long periods of time, then I might start losing myself and losing people that I truly care about. So then, Hero's internship thing, of course, during that school thing, Toga asks Zuko if they both want to go on a date thing. So then Deku says sure, and then at an exam, he still had his mask on before. He took out a 0-pointer, or 1-pointers, 2-pointers, 3-pointers, to trying to keep himself calm. And when he saw a 0-pointer and he saw Ochako or Raka, he grabbed his mask and he told Musclier to go or hold us, as he did for a really long time. He actually transformed into Shiraki-san, then All Might, then into like all those people. Heck, Dobby was as impressed that Zuko can and be so powerful. Like, he has flame manipulation, blue flames one, and still can't. So then Zuko transformed into that beast and sent a shockwave through the entire state or fake city, and it basically melted everything except for his friends and the people that he doesn't even know at a time. And he was quite literally the powerfulest thing in the world. All Might sees that, and he's like, that's the same monster that I saw a couple years ago. Or when after Zuko transformed for the first time, his first form was actually that lava, or like when he was just a toddler on Lur. And All Might had to like battle against that creature as Inko and Nastashi, or Inko says, wait, All Might, that's my child. As All Might heard that, and he says, sorry, ma'am, that creature's your child? He's not a creature. He's my son. His quirk been activated when after birth thing. Ah, I see. His quirk is transformation, right? Yes, he also can transform into other people. And when they heard him, or when they heard him, or heard her say that, he went from being a fiery creature into a, where is it? Into All Might. Sinking All Might. And real All Might saw him like, oh great, we have a shapeshifter. Then he went from being that to into that guy. Not his cards form, no. But the him. As they told him, tried to knock it off. He was scared about, or actually, when he was a kid thing, he got so shook up, he became like cinder block, and so, but then, and so they were like, Zuko, you beat the world's record, or broke the school's record by a lot. As said by Nezu. So then Dobby said, that's a good job, kid. Or son, or brother. Sorry. I have these. Literally, when I got up, I heard, or in the dream, I saw it in my dream of where to going with this. So, or like, he, or Zuko, had the power to do, basically what he's trying not to be so upset. And they were like, okay, accept him as 1A. And then this what if Bakugo was actually had respect for Deku. And it got to the point of, for Zuko, it got to a point with all of them of they start questioning Zuko. Like, are you me or are you her? Or are you, like, who are you? Because Zuko transforms into different forms so many times, he was like, I really don't know who I am anymore. And then he got into UA Class 1A, and then with that mask thing, with his sister, his brother, his other sister, and Dobby. Me. I'll be his other brother. And Zumi. Because Zumi looks just like her, but when... So they... So they were happy that, of course, only people that know it's Zuko is Dobby and Musclier and his own brother, or their sisters and their brother knew Zuko. Because so then during the rest of the weeks, I'm skipping the exam thing or quirk assessment test because one, Zuko threw a ball so hard it kind of looked like an attack. Boom. All the way to the space. Landed in infinity. And so then he also did a running jump one with he couldn't shut his quirk off, so he became Bakugo and landed 232 million blocks away from them. Bakugo was like, dang. I can't believe Zuko can move that fast. The sidestep thing, Zuko transformed into a angel looking thing. And he went all out. He went all out onto them. As then Zuko got first place in everything. Todoroki was like upset at Zuko. So then he became or actually when I'm skipping that part and Sports Festival or of course at USJ the or Deku was like trying to, or he stayed calm through the entire thing. And Shiraki-sen and his League of Villains came through a portal. And Shiraki-sen said to Kirigiri that Brad or there, as he points right to Zuko, I want him to I want you to teleport him to me. Yes, master. As Kirigiri literally teleports Zuko right in front. And he says, let's see how you fare against your... As he used his quirk, 5-finger death touch thing. And on just Zuko's mask, and then it happened. He went from being Zuko Midoriya to becoming every single one. He became Lang. Him became and search or imagine that kind of version, but everybody as his body parts, like all of their body parts, similar to this one. It all into one. None. And ends up laying. He used his chain quirk thing. He or 13 saw, and all of everybody from class 1A and 1B saw Zuko's berserk form. And they were like, okay, anyone have any idea? Huh? As he went into, or he looked at Shiraki-san with such tense anger. He went in and like used All Might's arm to grab Shiraki-san and lifted him up. And only person that's trying to get his attention is Eraserhead and 13. Like, calm down, Zuko. Or everybody's trying to calm him down. And the only person that's, or actually 13, told Rumo how to make that mask thing that he always wears. But she's trying to figure out how to make that mask. And as Eraserhead notices there was a drawing picture on the right behind Zuko's tail. His tail was way... It's not his private, it's his tail. He had a similar to that guy's, not the invisible girl, that guy, it's similar to his tail quirk, but way longer. And Zuko was on a berserk mode thing. So the Nomu tried to kill Zuko, but ends up getting slaughtered by a monster. As they were like astonished. Like class 1B couldn't believe that. But then the Blood Heroes trying to, or all of them, worked as a team to try to save his comrade from being consumed by all the emotion. Ocean of everybody's. So, Mr. Aizawa asked all the Class 1B students and Class A to work together to try to save his comrades. And so, Mir or him, he like went to, or they all worked together to keep him distracted. But Zuku's had similar power to that guy. In but he punch. He grew out two new tentacles of his own arms and starts flaring everybody around. Plus the heroes, or no, the villains, they were getting pummeled. Shiraki asked Kirigiri to warp both of them out because it's crazy. So then he went or they both teleported away, and every pro hero, or actually, Zuko was the embodiment of like destruction kind. He is trying to remember himself as his own sister, Zumi, went up to his face and told him, "Remember who you are. Remember you are Zuko, not..." As he shakes her off of his face. And and when he did that like touch thing, he was in such a bad coma thing. Like, instead of talking in his normal voice, as he like trembled as he says, "Zumi?" And it was, as everybody, or even heck, Zumi looked at Mirio, and he wasn't himself. He was Zuko's. He told him that only way to save from myself is just try to make me listen to who I am, who I was before. As Class 1B students, like that big guy here, that big guy, he glued Zuko's is one of his arms, and Muscular grabbed his other arm, and Stars and Stripes, and so did that buff guy, and so did Todoroki with his ice. And so and then actually him holding Zuko, or he pushed Zuko down, as he as his tail was the only thing that's keeping him. So as he's trying to remember who he was, but he had so many emotions. As everybody screamed him, Zuko, oh, remember who you are. As the piece, like, where is it? It was the piece of his face, like, right there. Piece of him, like half of his face, and like went back, try to go back to normal. Huh? As he's trying to subdue his own body. Honey, as Class 1B jumps in, and ends up beating, or as the Vine Girl tries to wrap her vein things, like her hair, around Zuko's neck. Huh? And the Beast guy, him, like, hits, try to make Zuko lose consciousness. They all made him lose consciousness, and he slammed his face against the ground so hard that, as they said, "We did it," as Mr. Aizawa and 13 and Blood Heroes said, "Yeah." So now, as Ochako and Toga were so worried about him, like, what will they do to him? Like, if he does the same thing as he, of course, Momo knew how to make Zuko's mask, because during all that fight thing, Mr. Aizawa dodges his attacks and grabbed it and brought it back to Momo, and she knew, as she made a mask, and put it on him when he's like, he was going back to his normal self, like his original self. And they put or his own brother says, "I'll do it," as he puts a mask on Zuko, and he was like, oh. As he was laying on his back and says, "Is it nap time?" Or it's nap time. As he hits his head, the back of his head, as the pro heroes came, like All Might, they came, And he got notified by Mr. Ozawa that Zuko will be out for a while. If he or Nezu says that he'll be out for a while because all that power overwhelmed his brain, his own memories. As Toga, was so worried about him, she went and checked on him before. As she told him that you always knew how to make me smile, Zuko. But why did you have to do that? As Eraserhead says, well, they had the meeting thing, and no one got injured. So Eraserhead told them that Zuko is the most important person. I think Shiraki-san, or whoever that villain is, that told Kirigiri to warp. Or, actually, he told... Sorry, I'm a little bit talking fast, so Mr. Aizawa says to them that the most concerning is how did they know with... Because Zuko was... So, Eraserhead was also worried about Zuko because they all were stunned. Class 1A and 1B. He was stunned that Zuko is the most powerfulest one that they ever seen. Heck, even Toga was impressed that Zuko came. He trained so hard to not have those flare-ups. As All Might says, well, all that power inside of Zuko will be handpicked. Of course, during the same time that they were talking, when they had their meeting, All for One looked at the TV thing where it recorded that incident, and he says, well, Zuko, or actually All for One, and says, Doctor, I think we have a new test subject, or new play toy thing. So then the doctor says, well, Zuko is when he says, when I first found out about his quirk thing, like his power has overloaded his mind when I first met him. Interesting. A kid with all that power and all of the... Does he have any memories of everyone? Yes, he does. He is a perfect copy guy. As All for One says, good, good. And as he looks over at Shiraki-san and says, good job. It's not the end, but this is the new beginning. As Shiraki-san says, for what? As All for One said, well, let's say you have now explored Zuku's powerfulest form. But then at the hospital, Zuko was asleep. Or he was in a coma. Really, really bad coma. He was in his dream thing. He was at the UA with all of his classmates and All Might and his own sisters and brothers. He had the entire world inside of him. So then the pro heroes called Inko and told her that Zuko will be in a coma. And she just cried what? What happened? And they told her that some villain disintegrated that mask thing. And ends up making multiple personalities or making him go berserk. Is he going to be in a coma for him? Well, depends on his condition, but his condition was, after we arrived, they said that he might be out for 1 week or 1 month. And as he says, as Inko says to him, can we at least see our kid? Yes, ma'am. As only people that never left his side was his sister, his brother, Dobby, and his brothers and sisters never left his side for quite a long, long time. Hank Zumi was tearing up a lot more. She got that from her sister, from her mother. So they both, or Musclier says, or actually both Musclier and Dobby was talking and and talked away from everybody, and he said, "Do you find that strange, Dobby?" As he says, "For what?" "Well, why did they have to? They were saying that they were targeting All Might, but ends up going to use his decay, or that villain used the decay on our brother, but now our brother can't." As he says, "Yeah, that's weird." And make Zuko berserk like that is not even being. So then when All Might was walking out, heard that conversation thing, as he was in his buff down form, and asked both of them if, "Do you have any ideas of why?" As Musclear says, "Well, when we were there, the Zuko, says that Musclear said, well, the villain said that they were come to kill you, but ends up like went for Zuko instead, and as All Might sees, or I see, or he says, "I see." So basically, they try to kill me, but ends up making Zuko in his current condition. As Dobby, that was a smart one of the bunch, actually says, before her thing, during that battle, Zuko told me of what their plan is. That and he says their plan, there's also a guy behind it, as he had his hand over his chin and said, what is his name? It starts with a A-L-L, for, as All Might, he never expected. All Might said, "Do you mean that supervillain, all for one?" As he says, "Yes, that guy. He did earn." But that guy with a hand over his face was Shiraki-sen. And he got ordered to do two things: kill All Might and break the mask. Or try to bring Zuko to him. As All Might bulks up and says, he or all for one will be paying for that. Putting poor Midoriya in a hospital bed with no movement. As Muscular says, if I ever see this guy called All for One, I'll make sure that he never touches my brother again. Or anyone. As he cracks his knuckles. But still, you guys are students. So then at the board meeting thing, All Might explained that it was All for One was trying to let Shiraki-sen kill me, but ends up trying to take Zuko away from, or make him go berserk. And he also, his instructions was to bring Zuko to him, but ends up or actually testing his power. So poor Zuko, in his mind, everybody in his mind forgot about him. Who are you? Kind. And he was in the coma for 1 week. As he's trying to, as all, or Class 1A says, teacher, whatever happened, or actually, they asked so many different questions they asked, or some of them asked Muscular, some asked her, or Bunny Girl, and her and Dobby about how is Zuko doing? Is he going to be okay? And saying all those things. They're like, he's going to be fine. He's just in the coma. He's in the coma. As he was basically mad. Like Toga, huh? Like, she knew that Zuko's is gonna be making it out alive thing. And so Zuko had that mask on when he was sleeping. And when wearing that mask to him sleeping in, and he was like, I don't, as he going up from his dream, inside of his dream, and ends up being a powerfulest one. And he and one person that entered into his chamber thing, or his hospital bed, was actually one for, or not all, one for all for one. I had those two backwards. So, all for one, and used his quirk thing to trying to make him lose control of again. Because if Zuko loses his insanity, or as he looks at him like, well, he's a pretty good. Let's try to break him into. As Shiraki-sen says, "Are you sure? He might go berserk again." As All for One says, "Yeah, he's perfect." Because because usually all those personalities leave humans fragile to anyone. But before All for One, or actually before, or actually it was Kirigiri, he and Shiraki-sen got busted for breaking into Zuko's hospital bed room. And so then, take a guess by who? None other than All Might. And he was in his buffed up form and stay away from Zuko. You villains. You mean as all as Shiraki-sen says, well, as he puts four fingers and he on his mask, and if I put or he says, if you step closer, then I'll make him go berserk again, losing him permanently. Okay. As luck would have it, the Frebbit, that girl, climbed up and she opened a window just slightly and used her tongue and like threw him across the away from Zuko. Who, as he or they were pretty upset at villains, as he's collecting all of his thoughts back together. And so Inko ran to Zuku's side and said, "Don't worry, son. We're here to protect you from that maniac." As Shiraki-sen says, "Huh, you must be his sister, his mother, aren't you? Well, you'll be DK as the rest of them." So he ran full sprint, but lucky for her, the only person that was really fastest was, or actually, he stared at Shreki-sen's DK quirk and before her, and it didn't activate. When only Zuku's is he didn't even rise. He heard noises in his coma as he lifted his arm up and he used his power and pushed Shiraki-sen back 100 times heavier than it. And then he was in such a bad coma. They still see his eyes are still closed. As 2 weeks have passed, and then Zuko pieced back his own memories and all of that stuff. As he gets up, and he looks around, and the only person that, of course, that's actually stayed with him is his mother. As when Inko saw Zuko got up, and he opened his eyes all the way, she just straight up burst into tears of joy as he says, "What happened? I remember was at USJ. Then of that finger or 5-finger death touch or 5-finger decay onto my mask made me lose Next was me, or now it's me. Oh, I'm in a hospital. What's the heck happened?" As he says, "Luku, you were such bad coma, that for almost 2 weeks after that." As he gets up, as he says, "Wow, slept that long?" The as he as person with was actually Nezu. I'll just use this picture. So Nezu, said, yes, you have been asleep for almost 2 weeks. That's impressive to come out of a coma for 2 weeks. As he as he said, well, not hold the other guys, because that you're gonna you're still in recovering from that. Yeah, but thank goodness, oh, as he he was like trying to, oh, you know, say like, oh, I'm gonna use this, as my phone flipped, because I was trying to use my thumb. So Hinko, oh, oh, or actually he was. So then Mr. Aizawa, or actually Nezu told Mr. Aizawa that Zuku's gonna be okay. He just came out of a coma. As he told the class that, and they even class 1B, and the support course heard them. They went yahoo really loudly as the blood hero told them that Zuku's gonna be okay. He just came out of a coma. As they all like were so excited for someone to came out of that coma thing. So then Ochako and Toga and all of them wanted to go see him. As Razorhead says, sure, and how about the sports festival? What's more important, becoming heroes or seeing your comrade? And of course, Mr. Aizawa says that what's most important, heroes or saving your, or actually is, if you really think about it, saving a comrade is like saving someone. And so then when he got up and he like they so All Might heard that, and he says, or he was so happy, he ran all the way to there, and he said, could there's not very many people could pull out of a coma really, really early age. So then Bakugo, knew that Zuku-kan was the one. So then Class 1A went to him, and he was sitting upright. Like, he was pretty happy that his friends do care about him. As Tinya said, you almost gave us a heart attack, and couldn't believe that your berserk form had almost tried to kill us, but you ended up not. As Momo congratulates him by saying, "Thank you for you doing a mask out thing." As so then, as he says, "Thank you all," as he smiles at them, as Toga was happy too that her boyfriend, because during the school thing, like third year, Toga decides to want him as her boyfriend thing. And so she ends up asking him out and all that stuff. So then when she heard that that Deku came out of a coma, the as okay, and before class, or they were pretty happy, but the other classes says, well, or I was actually blocking, saying, well, you, or some of them said oh, you're gonna be our rivals things and war thing and all that stuff. But Bakugo, or not Bakugo, Muscular said, get out of our way. What's most important? The sports festival or my brother? As everyone from class 1A and 1B, or those students were afraid of him. Like, the, they know that when he talks about his brother like that, they they immediately back off. Because they heard about how powerful Zuko in his berserk is. And when he had his own superhero costume, man, it was similar to I'm trying to think. Give me some time to think. Okay? So, it's almost similar to Ida Tenya's outfit. And so he it was his original costume, but Zuko's says, guess a sports festival is today, right? As they didn't even mention that to him, but they asked him, how did you know about the sports festival today? As he says, well, let's say in my coma state thing, not coma stone thing, but he said, when I was in that coma state thing. I was in class 1A, or was in, this was a different class 1A. As he explains to them that, oh, um, he explained that everybody in his coma dream couldn't even remember him. And he said, I also went down into the future part and like did all that things. As Dobby was like, wow, you did all that without breaking any sweat? That's pretty cool. But still, as Nezu says to him that go ahead to be in, and as he says yes. So then they weren't running late. They were pretty early. So Inko, who knew that not even anything could stop her brother from, or her son from becoming the number one hero. So then, and he, as Midnight says, or Music Mike says, or he tells, or he told Zuko that, or told the audience that Zuko came out of a coma and he broke a world record before he went into a coma. As everybody from the stadium cheered him on. So Midnight said to him, or said to them, like, that's pretty impressive for, okay? As Bakugo did his little speech of, well, I know that all of us won't hold back, but Zuko, as he points to Zuko, make sure you hold yours back, because I don't want to have you broken again, because I don't want you to end up in a coma. As he says, okay, as they, like, it was a race thing, Zuko wins. Because Zuko used his power, or he used Ida's speed with Todoroki's flames, and Bakugo's like explosions. And he was like, after they said 3, 2, 1, go, as Deku was way, way farther. He was right at the finish line in about 1 second. Way before everybody else. But he left some gifts. Because he used Momo's power. Here. He used Momo's creative quirk to use C4 her, her, or crate C4 that's special made for robots, and like a ticking time bomb thing. And so they were like, wow, Zuko. So did Toga, because she came in second place, or actually Todoroki and Bakugo came in second and third place. So then, Cavalry Battle, Zuko's his team, won because he used Todoroki's as ace, and he used both types. He used Todoroki's as ice and Mina's as acid ability. And for some, he actually used Madader's as all things that's on top of his head. And to make some of them stick to their opponents. So then Zuko came number 1, followed by like Todoroki and rest of them. And they were like, what the heck? As they were pretty powerful. They were like, what the heck? Heck. Musclier was like, he got special training from it. He's probably seen the Foresight version. So then, during the third match was a fight one. They start fighting each other's kind. Like Musclier against Stars and Stripes. Everybody chose their partners to fight against. And only person that was him gonna fight was, in the first round, was him, Brain Dude, and against him, because then Zuko, so he says, well, you're pretty powerful, that I heard, without that mask. And of course, Eraserhead was trying, or he says, don't let him remove his mask thing, or don't let any of them move his mask. As the Brain Dude, or Zuko, says, yeah, I'm powerful, so what? As he gets brainwashed, and he says, take off that mask and show me what you got. As Zuko went from he's trying not to being into like 100%. Then he became more of like everybody's quirk thing. As he roars so loud, even even that brain dude fell out of a ring before. And Eraserhead says, as he grabs a mask thing and puts it right back onto Zuko's face and gets snapped back into reality. Like, I'm back. As everybody was shocked that Zuko had that much power inside of him. As they were basically... Yeah. So then Bakugo accidentally blew it off during the final round because Todoroki... Or actually, Nindever knew that Nindever knew that Zuko can't be... Yeah, and so he ends up telling Zuko to take it easy, as he actually told Todoroki to go easy on Zuko, because you know what will happen. As Todoroki actually said, "Okay, Honor, why are you so worried about him?" As he says, well, all the pro heroes has their limits things. As he was quite literally the embodiment of powerful quirks. So I'm skipping the Cambark thing, or mall thing. The Deku, who was trying to look for stuff, but his head hurt so bad. Of course, Musclear was with him, or stayed with him through the entire mall, and of course, Handyman had his hand on Zuko's throat, and Musclear just straight up punched him, like, don't touch my brother. As they weren't freaked out because they knew it was a villain that attacked him, as his own sister was with him too. And so I'm skipping that because, and the store thing, or the cam, because only person that really got captured was Deku, and so they were like looking all over for him and found his location, because the League of Villains, like twice, actually was like commenting and all that stuff. Well, and don't worry about the Hero Killer stain. After they heard that Zuko, or actually he had a power of long range, so he basically took Hero Killer in. As he says, I'm Deku, but this is my, you might say, this is my ghost body. As he turns and told the detective that, my spirit. So then they were like, wow. And so I'm skipping all that to All For One's fight. All Might was like, as All For One decides, I'm gonna turn him into loose cannon again. As he straight up rips a mask right off of Zuku's face. And he became. And he actually destroyed it. And then All Might saw that and he said no as he does a 100% smash. And Zuku became literal powerfulest one. He roars so loud that not even All For One. He looked at All For One and he used like his own, like that version of his attack, but his own came out of his own mouth. Like bam! And killed All For One right then and there. Like, as he keeps going on and like roaring, shooting like fireballs, as even that, and he even shot like flames out. As All Might, Nezu, and all the pro heroes tried to put his, as he puts a, or actually Momo made another mask for him and puts it right back on him, and he was transformed back, and he said, what the heck happened? They had another episode thing, as All Might says, yes, young Midoriya, don't worry. And it wasn't your fault. All For One, that villain, was trying to make you lose yourself again. As Deku says, is everyone okay? That's the most important. As everybody was just fine. As he starts tearing up so much. And as then he became a pro hero. Or I'm skipping those like throw ball at each other, because Zuku, or someone threw a ball and it cracked his mask right through, as he became, as he transformed into that again. And end up almost trying to kill everybody again. But lucky for him, the main, or her, that girl that's in the middle of those two guys, the fist, or battle fist, or whatever her quirk is called, went and told that guy, not him, but that guy, that, can you weld these together? As he says, I'll try. As he literally did that. He healed them back up. Like, he was like, yep. So, Then all of them, as he puts them back on, as he, it's like that Snickers commercial. It's like, do you, as he, if you ever had, like, if you ever watched those Snickers ones, of the guy says, eat a Snickers, eat this, as they like, better. It's like, instead of that, it's like a mask put on Zuko. Because they knew that Zuko can be the most powerful being in the world. Heck, his tail, or one of his arms, like, hits that killer whale guy, and his goons all the way to, and so then Dobby says, "Woo wee, Zuko, you are on a roll." And so then so they were pretty powerful by themselves. But Zuko's notices that the mask was welded thing. That's okay. He had so many masks that so then he trained it harder and harder to become, or he inherited. So then he became, or actually Zuko, or during the overhaul fight thing, Zuko just straight up, boom, here comes the boom, kind to his attacks, to overhaul's attacks. And he used his sonic boom thing, and he actually killed Overhaul. And then Aries he did truly care about her, so he got her a lollipop thing, and she was happy as a clam. So then all that happens. They all became pro heroes, and Toga and Deku got married and was one kid. She was her mother's, or both of their transformation quirks, and their intelligence and all that stuff. Smart. So then his brother says, well, that's happy. Or everything went cleared out.